What is up, guys? Welcome to Offshore Carnivore. We're out here. We're going to do some yellowtailing today. We're going to try to teach you guys how to get the yellowtail behind the boat and how to get him in the boat. The conditions look pretty rough and the water's a little bit murky. So if we make it happen, we expect you guys to like and subscribe. And we'll see you when we get to fish in the boat. Alright guys, so we're setting the chum bag. Most people have those chum bags with the tiny holes, but what you really want is a chum bag with a big ring on the outside like this that you can hang from the side of the boat, and these big holes so you get maximum chum flow. Especially for yellowtailing, you want to make sure you have as much chum coming out the back of the boat as possible. You want to set up a really nice slick, and it's really important. So to start, we're going to use 2 boxes of chum so we can really get it going, and then we're going to add in 1 box at a time from here on out as it starts running out. Alright guys, so for the yellowtail we brought 2 mixtures with us of chum. We have one that's just chum and sand, mixed by Danny. And basically the point of this is you're going to ball it up and you're going to drop it. And it's create a vertical chum line as opposed to a horizontal one. Because the sand's going to cause it to sink and it's going to break apart as it sinks. And it's going to bring the fish from the bottom up towards the boat. And then we also got our oats. Yellowtail love oats, so we're just going to be throwing this behind the boat. And that's going to draw them to the surface as well. I'm setting up a bottom bait here so we can send down to the bottom. We're in 80 feet of water. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to butterfly this ballyhoo so it flows nicely in the current. It's going to have a nice bait presentation. What you want to do is just basically like you're filleting it but coming from the back. And we're just going to start back here. You're going to go down to the spine and then you're just going to cut across and release all that meat from the bone until you get up to the gills. And I already did it on the other side. And then we're going to break off this spine and get rid of the spine and the rib cage and the tail. We'll just throw that, and then you're gonna have the ballyhoo head and 2 pieces of meat that are gonna flow nicely in the current. And then you just want to hook them through the nose, and that's gonna sit like that in the current, and these 2 flaps of fillet are gonna float. Alright, so guys, what we're gonna do is we're making basically like a patty with the we're making a patty with the sand and chum mixture here. And what Thomas is gonna do is gonna get a small piece of bait, like almost as small as a piece of chum, and we're gonna pat it and we're gonna fold it into this patty. So when we drop it, it's gonna sink down with the sand and create like a cloud of like chum. And then hopefully the yellowtails will pick up the bait inside the cloud on its way down, because the yellowtails are kind of hugging the bottom right now. So we're gonna see if we can get a big one. You trick them with a small hook, small bait, and a cloud of sand. That's how you get them to bite.
Drop down with a jig head and a big chunk of bait. See if we get ourselves a mangrove snapper or another kind of bottom-dwelling snapper species.
Oh, we're on, boy. That's a bonito.
Oh shit, what's that?
Anthony Camp jig.
Open the bail, Thomas. Open the bail.
This feels like a bonito. It's going ape shit. Yo, bring the gaff.
I got you.
No, it's a yellowtail. Check this out. Check this out.
Oh my God!
Woo! The record, man. That's the biggest one we've ever caught in the Keys.
That is a big yellowtail.
Oh, we're gonna make that thing for the Andrew.
Flag. Shit.
That is a huge yellowtail.
That is a flag
Holy.
yellowtail. Where that came from with all these babies mixed in, we have no idea.
He's probably feasting on
We'll take it. We're doing it right though. We have the right process.
This is a textbook process.
It was just about getting the right fish to come next to the boat and presenting a bait in front of him. That's a beautiful yellowtail. Let's get a measurement on it.
I'm saying 18 inches on that.
No, and more.
20 and a half.
Yeah. All day long.
20 and 3/4. 20 and 3/4 inch yellowtail. That's a flag. They don't get a lot bigger than that in the Keys. That's a beautiful fish.
Catch some?
We've got another good fish on here. Hopefully it's a keeper yellowtail. That's what we're after all. Feels a little bit on the smaller side, but this is also a big rod, so that could be a keeper. That's a keeper. We're gonna bring it over here to the beginner section.
Yeah.
Measure him, Andrew.
We're just gonna de-hook him and get a measurement on this fish. You gotta be careful with those spines, they're really sharp. And let's walk over to the measuring tape. Alright. Thanks, Andrew. We got a almost 13-inch fish, so that's a keeper. Let me do that again.
Nope, that's going in.
Alright. Keeper fish, chungus.
Put them next to each other.
Get out there and get yourself a chungus. Alright guys, we're going to be cleaning this big yellowtail that Anthony caught today. 20-inch yellowtail, probably one of the biggest ones we've ever caught. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start right behind the fin here. We're going to go right behind the fin at an angle so we get the meat up here in his head. And he's going to cut down behind his gills. And for a big snapper like this, you want to go and pick the meat off the bone. For a small snapper, you can usually just go down and across because the bones are thin, so you'll just cut right through them. But for these guys, the bones are going to be big. So you really want to go down the spinal cord and with the tip of your knife, just cut through the skin, and then you're going to go back and make a second pass, lifting up the meat and cut down to the center spine. And then you want to do the same thing on the bottom side. Cut the skin along the back bone here until you get to the tail. And then what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to cut down to that center part. Alright. Then what I like to do, some people come from the front or they like start trying to pick the meat around the bone here. I do this thing where I just come back to the tail and I'll just wiggle my knife through here because there's less meat in the tail, so if we lose this meat, it's not a huge deal. I'll break that skin off and then I'll come here, and I'm very comfortable with a knife, so I can cut towards my hand and not be too worried. I'll like lift the meat on both sides here around the spine, and I'll cut towards my fingertips only. Until I get to where I started my incision. And that fillet is just going to come off really nicely. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And lift up, and there are your two fillets. Now we just need to take the rib cage out, and we're gonna skin them too. And I'm just gonna give the prep table a little rinse. Alright, so what you're doing for the rib cage is, you can see it here, you can see all like those veins and those bones going across. You just want to come on top of them and kind of cut at an angle down to them and just remove them from that fillet. Feed it to the pelicans. Turn it around, and then we're just gonna skin them. And then finally, for these big snappers, if you don't really like that bloodline, I don't mind the bloodline a ton, but sometimes you get some bones right here at the beginning of the bloodline. So I always just cut down about halfway and remove the bloodline up to there to make sure you don't get any bones in it. And then that way your fillet stays in one piece with minimal bloodline and no bones in it. And that's a clean fillet right there. It's a perfect yellowtail fillet. What's up guys, we're here frying the yellowtail we caught. What we did is we egg washed it, seasoned it, and we breaded it. And we're putting it in the hot oil, waiting for it to get golden brown, nice and crispy, just the way we like. Alright guys, we're gonna give the first batch a taste test. So pull off a little piece here and see how it is. Fresh yellowtail. Doesn't get much fresher than that. Could use a little bit more salt. But other than that, the fish tastes perfect. Doesn't taste fishy at all. The breading is really crispy. And it's really delicious. That's why you gotta get out there and get yourself a chungus so you can have this. Look at that. That's some good stuff.
An iguana! Get that on the video! Film it!
We have a stowaway.
Shit.
So this one we're not gonna throw in the water so that way he doesn't have to get killed by a kingfish. He's really cute. I kind of want him as a pet though.